Hello everyone. So in today's video we will study about the excess demand. Okay, uh, it is related to our previous term which we have studied, the planned AD. Okay, so what this excess demand means? It is a situation. Okay, it is a situation where the planned AD, where the planned AD is less than the actual AD. Means the producers uh, in our economy, they estimated that uh, they planned that in this year, in this financial year, there would be a demand of rupees 100. Okay, there will be demand of goods of rupees 100, but in actual the demand increases to 150. Okay, so the planned was 100, but in actual what happened, the demand becomes 150. So actual aggregate demand becomes greater than planned aggregate demand. So when this situation So when this situation happens in a country, then it is called excess demand. Okay, so and this situation happen when there is a full employment level. Means we are assuming that in an economy there is a full employment level. Okay, and during that full employment, the demand is more, the actual demand is more than the planned. Okay, so what does full employment means? We may revise it, we should revise it. So full employment means uh, in an economy when everybody who every person who is willing to work and able to work. Okay, in an economy when person is able to work and willing to work, he gets job. Okay, he gets job, then it is a situation of full employment. If a person who is not willing to work, he is able but he is not willing, then that person will not be counted in the category of full employment. Only those people who are able and those who are willing also. Okay, there are two conditions which must be fulfilled if if we have to say that there is a condition of full employment. There are two conditions. First, the people should be able and the people should be willing. Okay, these when these two conditions will be fulfilled, then only we can say that there is a condition of full employment. So in an economy, in an economy of full employment, the actual AD becomes more than the planned AD. Okay, the actual AD becomes more than the planned AD. Then that situation is called excess demand. Okay, now the amount by which this gap occurs, the amount by which this gap occurs means the planned was 100, the actual was 150. So this gap of 50, it is called inflationary gap. Okay, so the in major terms, the excess demand and the inflationary gap are the same thing. Both are the same thing almost. Okay, but the difference is the words which we are using to define these two terms. Okay, the difference is in the terms which we are using, the words which you are using to define these terms, that those are different. The basic meaning of these two, excess demand and inflationary gap, are the same. Okay, so the gap by which actual demand exceeds the planned demand, it is called inflationary gap. So how we will show this through diagram? We can see here, this is the graph, this is our AS, this is planned AD, and this is actual AD. So we can say planned AD is here and the actual AD is here. So actual AD is more than the planned AD. and this gap KT, and this gap KT, this is inflationary gap. This area KT is called inflationary gap. Okay, so this question has came in your exam and might come in the upcoming exam also. Okay, you can see the past year paper, and this diagram was there, and it was asked that the gap KT, which what do we call this gap KT gap. Okay, so your answer will be it is called, the gap KT is called inflationary gap. Okay, so this question has come in your exam in previous year, you can see. Now, what are the reasons for the excess demand? Why does this excess demand occurs? What are the causes behind this? Okay, so first one is rise in propensity to consume. Okay, so what does propensity mean? Propensity to consume means when people are how much amount of our income is going to be used for consumption. Okay, means what part of our income is going to be used for consumption. So when there is a rise in propensity to consume, means when earlier, for example, people were earning 1000 rupees, and out of this 1000 people were spending 500 rupees, and rest 500 was going to their saving account. Now people decided to increase their consumption. Okay, now instead of 500, they now they are willing to spend rupees 700, means they are spending more. Okay, when there is an increase in spending, then it is called rise in propensity to consume. Okay, so how much amount of our income is going to be spent in the consumption? How much part of our income is going to be spent for consumption? That is called propensity to consume. So when there is a rise in propensity, means when we are increasing our consumption, then it is called propensity to consume. So when there is a rise in consumption, then this situation occurs. Which situation? The situation of excess demand occurs. Okay, now the second reason is decrease in taxes. So how decrease in taxes, or how low taxes can increase the demand? Okay, so now let us see an example here for this. Our second point is decrease in taxes. So due to decrease in taxes, people will be left with more money. Now if people were earning rupees 100, okay, so out of rupees 100 they were giving 20 rupees as tax and 80 rupees for their consumption. Okay, so 20 rupees they were giving for tax, and they were left with 80 rupees. Now government decides to reduce the tax. Now Now out of this 20 rupees, now they are asked to give 10 rupees tax. Now how much amount will be left with them? They will be left with 90 rupees. So this is an example, but it occurs in lakh, in crores. Okay, this amount, this we have taken in rupees 100, but in actual it occurs in lakhs or crore rupees. Okay, so earlier we were left with 80 rupees. Now we are left with 90 rupees. So we are left with more money. We are left with 10 rupees more. So this is example for one person. Now assume this example for crore, lakh of people or crore people. Okay, so when there is a decrease in taxes, people are left with more money. So they will spend more. They will save more, definitely, but they will also spend more. Okay, so that consumption, that expenditure will increase the demand. Okay, so due to decrease in taxes, the situation of excess demand occurs. Now the third reason for excess demand is fall in imports. So how this fall in imports or the reduction in imports leads to excess demand? So we will understand with the help of an example. Suppose earlier we were importing 10 barrels of crude oil, okay, means kacha tel, and the demand was 50. Okay, now due to high prices of crude oil in the international market, we so let's see an example here. Earlier we were importing 10 barrels of crude oil and the demand was 50. Now because of international prices, any country, whether it's India or any country, they will reduce the import. Okay, they will reduce the import. So for example, say we reduce the import from 10 to 8 barrels, but demand is still the same. Demand will not decrease. Okay, demand will not decrease. Definitely it's common thing, but due to international prices, the uh, imports have been reduced. So that's why the fall in imports will lead to excess demand. How? Earlier this 10 barrels were fulfilling the demand of 50. Earlier these 10 barrels were fulfilling the demand of the country, but now due to decrease in imports, this 8 barrels are not able to fulfill the demand. These 8 barrels are not able to fulfill the demand of the country. So because of decrease, we can see that there is excess demand in comparison to imports. Okay, in comparison to imports, demand is more. Okay, earlier 10 barrels were fulfilling the demand, but these 8 barrels are not able to fulfill the demand of the country. These 8 barrels are not fulfilling the demand of the country. So due to this decrease in imports, it is seen that the situation arises that there is need of more crude oil. There is need of extra crude oil because these 8 barrels are not able to fulfill the demand of the country. So that is the reason that it is seen that there is excess demand in the economy. Okay, earlier 10 barrels were fulfilling the demand, but these 8 barrels are not able to fulfill the demand of the country. So that's why imports are less, supply is less, and demand is more. Okay, in basically the demand is same, but imports are reduced. So in comparison to imports, demand is seen more in the economy. Okay, so this is the reason. Now our next reason is rise in exports. This is the I can say practical example. It happened in 2007 or 8 or 9 any. Okay, it happened in 2008 or 9. So in India there was production of excess production of sugar. Okay, so government thought that we should export it. So government exported the sugar without looking here and there. Okay, without confirming the amount, without doing anything, thus they wanted to export the sugar. So the situation happened that due to excessive, not only exporting, due to excessive export, there was scarcity in the home country. Okay, due to excessive exports of sugar, there was scarcity in the home country in India. This is an example of India. You can search in the internet. So you can find the whole story, what happened. So when export increases, it may decrease the supply in home country. Okay, it may decrease the supply in the home country, in India. So if India wants to export uh, anything, so it is not necessary, but it might, if a regular check is not maintained on the quantity of good exported, then it might uh, you know, decrease the supply of that good in the home country. And due to decrease in supply, it is seen that the demand is more. So the excess demand occurs when there is a rise in exports. Okay, if exports are done in the limited quantity, then it's okay, but in excessive quantity, then the situation of excess demand occurs. Now the last reason is increase in government expenditure. When government made any expenditure, like not for purchasing pizzas and burgers, okay, like for maintaining or building an asset, dams, roads, highways, okay, or anything, any public property, then workers or laborers are used to make those uh, assets. Okay, then people are hired for the work, then people are people earn money when government make any asset, like or highway or dam or bridge. So people work for the government, and in lieu of that service, people are paid. Okay, poor people get money from that asset, okay, from that construction. And earlier they were not earning anything, or they were earning less. Now they are earning money. Okay, so they will spend that money, so that will increase the demand in the market. Okay, earlier they were 100, out of 100, 80 were proper employed and 20 were unemployed. They were poor people. Now government decides to construct a dam or construct a highway. So these 20 people will get job, they will earn money. Now demand was of 80 earlier, so supply was also according to the 80 people, but now these 20 people got money, they started spending. Okay, so demand for the goods will increase. Now this 80 plus 20, now the demand is 100, but for the short period of time demand will be 80, demand will be like earlier, sorry, supply will be 80 only for the short period of time. In the upcoming few weeks or few months, the supply will also increase, but when we say about this short period, then this supply will remain 80, because demand was 80 earlier. These 20 got their money, got their income recently. So due to increase in government expenditure, there is an increase in the income of poor people, and those poor people will spend money. Okay, so this increases the demand in the market. So these are the 5 reasons which leads to excess demand in the economy. Now there is an impact of excess demand. Impact is on 3 things. First, on output. Okay, so what does, if there is excess demand, what does how it will impact the output, how it will impact the production? First of all, there will be no impact on production. Okay, why? Because as we have seen earlier, all the resources are being fully utilized, because there is a situation of full employment. Okay, so there will not be any effect on the output, there will not be any effect on the production in the short period. In the long run there will be definitely, but in the short run there will not be any effect on the production. Okay, in the long run the output will increase definitely. Okay, now second is on the employment. It does not impact as full employment exists. As I said earlier, the excess demand is a situation in the full employment, when in the economy there is a full employment. So full employment already exists in the economy. No person is unemployed. If there is 100, there are 100 people in the country, those 100 people are employed who are able and willing to work. So there will not be any change in the employment. Okay, now third is general price level. What will be the price level in the economy? So due to excess demand is more, supply is less. So we have studied in the 11th class that when demand is more and supply is less, what happens? Price of goods increases. So there will be a situation of inflation until and unless there is increase in the output or there is increase in the employment. Okay, not in employment, but the price will be, there will be inflation, situation of inflation till till the time uh, there is increase in the production. Okay, when production increases, when the production will increase and it will match the demand, then the price will go down. Okay, so these are the impact on few things. So if you are able to understand this, then you will be able to understand the deficient demand, which is exactly opposite of this excess demand. Okay, so we will understand that topic also, but try to understand this excess demand topic. This is very very important for your board exams. Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can comment, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, so thank you so much for this, and take care.